Tonight, it's 6 o'clock. It's around about that. So tonight, we are going to pull. We're going to remove a rear wheel from this 2014 Softail standard. I'm actually I've just had a complete mind blank. But anyway, we're this is the old girl that's in here. 2,800 kilometres. Mate of mine's bike, and he needs to obviously put a new rear tyre on it. Don't know what happened there, couldn't tell you, but we're gonna pull this off. If you're watching this video, you're in the same boat. You just want to learn how to pull it off yourself. And look, I'll go over a couple of little bits and pieces. What I normally do with something like this is I will actually measure back here. The belt is the main thing. Obviously you want your tyre, your wheel to go back in there when we're putting it all together, right? So I'm preparing at the moment to put it back in. I'm not just ripping it apart. So the main thing is when you put it back together, the rear wheel is going to go in straight and the belt is going to be properly tensioned. Now, theoretically, because this bike's only got 2,800 Ks and I think it was just recently serviced, the rear belt should have the right amount of tension on it now. But if you're not too sure, it's around about 5 mil of movement, roughly up and down. When you've got it sort of sitting on the ground, I'd say, because you know, as it moves, that's what I've always just done anyway. It might be the same up on a stand, but look, it's roughly in the middle, I normally just feel, and I have a bit of a feel of it before I pull it apart. In my mind, after just feeling that, it actually feels like it might need to be a little bit tighter. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, so that's one thing I'll pay attention to, the belt. And the second thing is I normally get a ruler, I measure here, and I'll just take a photo of it on my phone. But I know it's roughly about, what is it? Let's have a look. Now, I'm measuring off the washer, not the nut. The nut changes its depth depending on where it's spun to. Okay, so I go off the washer, and I know it's around about 18, 19 mil to this bit right at the back. I do the same thing on the other side. This will be possibly a little bit different, but at the same time it should be the same. These are roughly the same size as the washers, so there you go. It's around about 19 mil. Okay, 10 under 20 mil, that's fine. Then we start pulling it apart. So I measure it. Then what I do is I will get a texter, and I will also just go around this here. So when I'm putting it all back in there, it just gives me a real good ballpark figure. So I'm not trying to tension it and do all that sort of stuff. I'm not trying to get a ruler there while I'm trying to balance everything out, so I can see that mark, hopefully. I try not to do anything drastic like scribe it or anything, because you're just going to fucking fuck the paint. It'll end up flaking off on you. So just a texter, anything like that, you can mark it, and then measure it with a ruler just for good luck. Then, look, it's all downhill from here. So, what our first thing is some of these got these little caps. You can pop them out because when you belt the axle through, you'll just more than likely break it. I've got a little thing where I try to put things in line as I pull them out, so then when I'm putting them back together, things just go back together nice and easy. This here, this is a safety clip. This just stops you pretty much if your nut was to come completely loose and fall off the end and your axle comes out. Right, fair enough. So that's, look, people come with all different ways to remove these. You can lose them pretty quick. A flat blade screwdriver, and what I normally do, I put my finger on the other side of it, and then all you got to do is make sure you put your finger on the other side, because when you twist them, they take off at 1,000,000 miles an hour if you don't slow them down. So that's it, you just twist the screwdriver and it comes off. Okay, so that's that. Pretty much now you can undo your tensioners, these little suckers here. They're going to have to more than likely come loose. I will come back to them in a second. Then, see, all it is just a massive nut and bolt, okay? But it's just remembering where to put everything back together, right? Don't overcomplicate it. All right, so I actually just skipped a step. So we want to undo our tensioners here as well before we go any further. So probably the first thing you should do is undo the tensioners. Second thing, unclip that and then go from there. You want to undo these because then you can loosen the belt right up, put it to the side. I'm unsure with this, I'll be honest with you, I'm unsure of it if I can get the belt between this guard to just get it out of the way. Should be able to. It's just this little bit of doubt in my mind about it. I don't know why I'm second guessing it, but look, no big deal. It's only nuts and bolts. Fine. I like to think I can leave that brake there with and we can get it to just slide out, and I don't have to undo any of this stuff. So I'll show you in a second what I mean. I'm just being careful. You don't want to undo this hard into this brake. If you don't want to do this step, pretty straightforward. Just undo your two bolts there. Just undoing it, just being careful. Don't want to ram it hard into the brake caliper. I am going to use a shifter, right? Yes, cringe. You should be using a socket. I completely agree. A lot of the time people don't have sockets big enough to do this, or you're a dickhead like me and left the big socket set at work when you knew you were going to be doing this. So as long as you use a shifter and you make sure it is done up really firm on it, you won't have any problems, and just take your time. Let's have a go. So I'm starting on the nut side. Sometimes you will have to put a shifter on the other side as well to hold it to stop it from spinning. We'll just see how we go. Just be real careful not to mark any paint. Some people don't give a rat's ass about it, but this isn't my bike either, so treat it better than my own. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and slide this forward enough to be able to pull the belt off to the side of it. Now, this is a thing I'm unsure of on this bike. If I haven't got enough room to push it forward, then the brake caliper's got to come off, and that allows it. That might allow it to push a bit further forward, but in general, we might just be able to get enough. I won't say too much about it because more than likely I'll be wrong. Just loosen it off a bit so it's got a bit of movement. Rubber mallet. If you haven't got a rubber mallet, you can use a hammer, provided you put a nice block of wood between it and the hammer. Never hit hammer on metal. Okay, so we've undone this. Give it a bit of a whack. Once that shaft's removed, the wheel will be able to move around all over the place. We should be able to get that belt off without too much hassle. Be able to slide it a bit further forward and everything like that. The reason that is because we're sort of, I'm trying to cheat a little bit and show you a bit quicker way than pulling all this brake assembly and everything like that apart. Okay, now there should be one spacer there, and it may even have another spacer on the inside of the wheel. Alright, yeah, that's got a bit of tension on it. I can feel that the shaft is carrying a bit of weight, doesn't want to move easy, so then I'll give it a little bit of a pump, lift a little bit of weight off it. Alright, and there we go. It's moving nice and easy now. Biggest thing we want to watch for now is when this comes out, we just don't want to damage the nice chrome wheel. So I'm going to tuck some rags all around this and go from there. So if you've kind of got the right amount of weight off the wheel, this here nearly pulls out by itself with just a little bit of a wiggle. Would I normally worry about doing all this sort of stuff on my own bike? Probably not, but it's not my bike, and I want to make sure that all care taken. Alright, so that's good. Now, there will be some spaces in here, more than likely, so just keep an eye out for them. That's that out. Look, don't damage your thread, obviously. Okay, so there's going to be a spacer. This will, you can probably just see it in there. I don't know at what stage that's going to drop out. You have your ABS, that should be your ABS there, that we're just wiggling, and this will be your caliper mount. So, caliper mount, just wiggle that out the way. we should have enough room to start getting some stuff coming out of the way. Once one of these things is out, you're pretty much on the home stretch. It's just getting to that stage. Okay, ABS. Now, I'm paying attention to where all this run as well, so I know that hangs out the bottom, and I know it goes in that way. So if you pay attention to that, how it kicks out to the, well, from this side it kicks out to the right, like that, so away, so it clears all these bolts. We don't have that belt on there. The wheel should be able to come all the way back out. Alright, I was going to try and get this wheel off without removing the caliper, but fucking, it's so straight. It's so much easier without it on there. But it's not only that, this wheel and disc, this package, there's no way you can get it off, because every time you move the wheel back, you're moving the wheel into the caliper. I don't know what the fuck I've done it on, but I've normally always been able to, well, I thought I could, but then again, I'm only working on fucking old pieces of shit. So anyway, listen, with this model, you've definitely got to remove the caliper. I was prepared for it, I'd planned for it. I was just trying not to do it. You will notice a bit of a difference too with these caliper bolts. One's got this massive like head like this, and the other one just looks like a normal Allen key bolt. Alright, so there's that. There's the rear one, and now we try and go all the way forward to, get that out, bit of a twist, bit of a pull, without damaging anything. Because this is going to be off for a couple of days, I am going to put something in between the pads, maybe just a spanner head or something like that to stop it from closing up. Just being really careful, we don't want to pinch anything here. Well, the hardest thing with all of that, and it was my own fault, I was trying to, I was trying to leave the caliper on there, and then I realised you can't pull the wheel back, yada yada yada, you can't pull the wheel back, it hits on the caliper, so that's all good. Undo the caliper and get the caliper out. Then the caliper bracket was an absolute pain in the ass, and that was because I tried to pull the wheel off without pulling the caliper off, aka pulled the bolt out the axle, when if I just left the bolt in there and removed the caliper, everything probably would have been fine and dandy. But you know, look, you got to try these things. Alright, so that's all out now. Belt's moved to the side. I'm just going to jack this up a little bit now. to give me a bit of room to pull that wheel out. Yeah, look, you try and cheat and it just always comes back to bite you on the ass. Every time. Might have to even let some air out of this tyre to get it out past that mount. Oh no, we should be right. Oh, there we go. Right. Alright, so look, that's all I've got to do. I don't need to break the bead and change over the tyre for him. Thank the fucking Lord. The problem was if he takes his bike over there altogether, they said it's going to be a couple of weeks, but if he takes the wheel and tyre over there, they'll be able to do it in a day. So that's all we're sort of doing here. We just need to pull that off. Right, I'm going to go, he's going to come pick this up, and then we'll cut to putting it back on. That easy. It wasn't that fucking easy. Don't try and take shortcuts like this dickhead. Before I go, what I was saying was before, when you pull off the caliper, and I think I said something like I'll put a spanner in it or something. This is what I meant, right? I just get a spanner and I just sit it in there, and it stops the pads from closing up, especially if you've got kids running around that like to press brakes in or something, because once they clamp up, they're a real fucking pain in the ass to get out without the proper tool. All right, anyway, wrapping it up. All right, night 2. We've just got the tyre back. It's been fitted with a Michelin Commander 3 200 55/17. Look, I'm no tyre expert, so I'm not going to pretend to be, but I've heard of these being used before on Harleys and stuff. I think they're meant to be pretty good. So look, you know, it's a fucking tyre, and it's got a grip on it, and Michelin are a good brand, so let's just say that's a win for all. Quick recap. So we've got our caliper off, we've got our belt pushed to the side. So look, without undoing that plastic chain guard, just to start with, I'm gonna try and cheat again, and it's obviously not going to work. We all know that. We know the outcome of this, but I'm just going to try and slide it back in there and see how we go. Big thing here is we got to get spacers in the way they come out, and then we got to get our brake back on. That's probably the fiddliest bit. Wanted to touch base as well with me. I thought that you could pull the rear wheel off without removing that caliper. I don't know why I was so confident that you could, but I was having a look at my street bob, and because they've got such a narrow wheel compared to the Softail standards, these have got a 200. I'm pretty sure you can, if once you loosen everything, it will slide the wheel with the disc on it and the caliper in place. It will slide straight out. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's where I had it in my head from. But these you definitely cannot. All right, so look, we're all learning here. That's what it's about. I don't make out. I'm not a Harley mechanic or anything like that. Do not pay one bit of attention to what I'm doing. This is just, you know, this is for educational purposes only, as in what not to do. So we're going to sort of work backwards now. I'm pretty sure. So we're going to kind of work backwards now. I'm going to put the caliper mount on. I think that's a good idea, and we might be able to get it on there and get it past it. If not, I don't know what we're going to do. So we're going to work in reverse now. We're going to put the caliper mount on, because I don't reckon that the problem was when it's when you don't remove this and it's in there. That's over your wheel. You can see that there is no, that's the only movement you've got. So I don't really know the best way. I know I can put this in lately, but then you can't put, I know you can put this in afterwards, but then you've got to try and get it onto that tongue there. So I think we're best off putting this on now, and we'll have a go at doing it that way. So you kind of put that on there, and then you roll it in at the same time as the tyre, and it actually works so much easier. Yeah, you slide it up on the tongue while you put it over the disc, and just roll it in one motion. That's what I've done anyway, and yeah, that seemed to have worked. I think. Has it worked? I think so. So that's that on there. Obviously the bike's up a bit, so it's got to come down over it. And yeah, obviously make sure your belt's out of the way. Right. Crisis diverted. That's that. This slides up in there as this tyre goes on, like that. There we go. Beautiful. That's lining up through here. Fine. We're away from everything that we're meant to be away from, and that now hopefully, as we lower it down, can give us a bit of room to move. So I'm just going to hold that tyre a bit while I lower it. Just softly, just go down a little bit, and make sure we're not hitting anything we're not meant to be. That's it. That's what I wanted. Just wanted to see that disc slide in that groove, so it's actually being guided down there and nothing can jam up. Biggest thing at the moment is the wheels. That's my biggest concern. I just don't want to scratch the shit out of these wheels on him. It'd suck. So I've got to lower it down a bit so we can push forward and get this belt on. I'll try and get you in a bit better position there. A bit of fiddling, and should just push over. Just like put on the bike chain. There we go. Right. So that's our belt. that's this side of things too out the way. That's good in there. Now we've got to remember, just got to adjust this a little bit. We've got to remember to put our ABS back in here. Our little ABS sensor, or whatever the frig it is, and so the ABS sensor will go in here, and it will then have, I think it's got a spacer that goes behind this, in between this and the rear frame plate. So ABS, then spacer in here. Alright, so that's that side. That's probably not going to be too difficult. We want to put our spacer in. That pops in. If you have a look, it goes in a groove. Okay, so that can't fall out. Now, before we try and slide ABS spacers in and everything like that, oh fuck, I've just realised, pretty sure that ABS, this actually runs, the wire I think run actually underneath this, down through here and then up, so I might have fucked that up a little bit. I might have to come back to that. Is it best off doing it now? Probably is, before I put a spacer in the other side. So we'll see how this has got to go back on now. Okay, so we've got our caliper that will Alright, so I've just wiggled this into place. As I was saying, the pads, they close up a little bit, so you really got to watch for it. They even close up just a tiny bit, and they make it that much harder to try and get it all lined up. Now, there's some little, I don't know if you can see it, the pads have to sort of slot into a gap to stop it from moving, and it is the same at the back. There'll be something, so they've got to line up as well while you slot this down. That's really hard to explain. I wish I'd explained that before I put this on, but I'm not going back now. Right, there we go. Okay, it's all slotted down in there now. Bolt holes are lining up. Cool. We'll put these bolts in, and that sorts that out, and then all that's really left to do is our spacers. Yeah, so I did stuff up that that ABS jigger, or whatever it is. I keep saying ABS, I hope I'm right with that. That I had that going up over the top. That's incorrect, so I've just had to sort of pull it around and reroute it, so it comes up underneath now, and that's how it should run. It'd probably work the other way, but there's no way I was gonna give it back with that in the back of my mind. So alright, so that's that. Now I've put that small spacer in there, and that's there, nothing's really lining up, right? So nothing's really lining up at the moment, and then I've just got to put the big spacer in here. We'll lower it down, slide our axle back through, adjust things, and hopefully that's it. Oh, and I got to bolt the caliper on first too, so I'm just about to do that. Just thought I'd let you know about that. Just let you know about a minor fuck up on my part. It's not like, you know, there's not a million of them.
Remember, I can do something.
that one with the big shoulder that goes in the Alright, camera went flat somewhere there, so I was just explaining that obviously the one with the big shoulder on it, that goes up the front. Now that's pretty self-explanatory because they pretty much won't fit anywhere else, but just so you're aware. Now we've got to get the all that's done. We've got to try and get this big spacer up in this side. Probably going to have to lift the frame up a bit and then slide this in. I don't know if I can maybe remove the ABS thing, and it gives us maybe a bit more to play with. So I think normally you lift this up a bit, and that gives you the movement you need. That's it. That just pops it in enough, and then we lower it back down. So now it is, we've got our spacers, and so up in this side, we'll get all these in, bit hard to do with one hand, but that's that. And now we'll put our other side. Now we'll put our axle. We'll start to get all that line back up and get that through. Not really sure yet what we've got to do here. If we've got to go lower the bike, yeah, so the bike's got to come up just a little bit. Okay, we're all going back in, nice and easy. Just got to be careful if you come into any resistance. Just check how it's going, how it's lining up, because you don't want to be going through on an angle and belting into a bearing on the opposite side. I don't really know if that's possible, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just take it nice and easy, and it's starting to come through there, and give the tyre a little bit of, as long as we're not damaging the thread, it all should be good. And then to jam your feet in, just give it a bit of a bit extra. We've got that coming out. Now it's just hitting a bit, it's got to come up on this side. There we go. Right, that's that back through. With our belt on, we got that. Now we're going to put our nuts and washers back on. If you remember when we pulled it apart, we measured off the washer. Back to this, we didn't measure off the nut because the nut turns. And same with this, we measured off the washer looking bit of this bolt back, and I think it was around about 19 mil. But we will check that, and we'll check the belt and everything like that as we go along. We'll put our nut on and we'll do that sort of thing first. So once we start to get it adjusted, things aren't going to go anywhere on us. I won't put the safety clip on yet. As I said to start with, main thing now, you know, we done the homework to start with, was getting it lined up. I know all the rest of the way, everything else, you can fudge your way through and muck around, take things on and off, but one thing you really don't want is anything running out of alignment. So we know exactly where it's got to be. We've got marks on things as well, because I put some texture marks on there. We've got all these little things that just help it. Then we're going to run our adjusters. I'll start over here. Right, just nip the nuts up, and we'll just check now, do another little measurement before we fully nip them up. And what we got there? Yeah, around about 19 mil. And that's about 19 mil. Right, I'll just nip them up, and I'm just seeing if everything is tracking all right. Just doing a bit of a visual. I'll stand back and have a bit of a look at it, and then the best thing is probably take for a bit of a ride and make sure everything's all right and nothing's gonna go anywhere. Alright, I'll just put our safety E-clip on. I might just nip that up a little bit more. It shouldn't need a lot. And that's it. Same deal with putting these on. You can use a pair of pliers and just squeeze them and they'll clip over, or you can push them, but just make sure you got hold of them on either direction, because that's what happens. They just go clang and they're gone. That's that end cap. Right, next stage. Alright, take for a bit of a test ride, make sure that belt doesn't fly off because of misalignment. I'm going to take it for a bit longer run. Concentrate a little bit more on the bike than trying to film, and just get it up to some decent speed on the highway and bring it back again, and then just double check it. But let's call that a wrap. That's it. Done.